What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Flame Racing Reviews. And if you're like me, you can't wait for the 2026 IndyCar season, which is why today we're going to take a deep dive into the preview of what we can expect out of some teams and drivers in the 2026 IndyCar season. But before we do that, I got to tell you about today's sponsor, and that is Keepsakers. Keepsakers makes the most unique and cool IndyCar t-shirts out there. I am so happy that they sponsored me because seriously, who doesn't look sweet in these shirts? These shirts are awesome. You can get them at any IndyCar race weekend. So they go to all the races. You can buy them at their tent there, or you can go to keepsakers.com and buy them off the website. So they're super cool, and if you want cool, sweet merch heading into the new season, check out Keepsakers. So now with that being said, let's talk about some teams and some drivers that I think we need to preview them heading into the 2026 season. And I think it all starts at the front of the field with Team Penske. Obviously, last year, Team Penske had the Indianapolis 500 qualifying disqualifications, sent to the back, fired Ten Semdrick. Well, they had to hire people throughout the season. They did some rebuilding throughout the season. You know, they went like 14 races without a win. You know, from St. Pete to I forget what the 14th race was, but I know they won the 15th race in Portland and they won the last race in Nashville. They only won those two races. Will Power won Portland and Joseph won Nashville, but those two races, besides those two, they were nowhere all season long, and it was quite shocking. You know, obviously we're not used to seeing that. We're used to seeing Penske compete for the championship, and that's just not what happened. But they had to rebuild from what happened at Indy and honestly what happened at St. Pete the year before. So just a lot of cheating scandals that they had to clean up, fix, fire some people, get some new people in there. But towards the end of the 2025 season, they started really rolling, and they also are bringing a new driver, David Malukas, who is replacing Will Power. David Malukas is driven for Dale Coyne. He's driven for Meyer Shank. He's driven for AJ Foyt. He was supposed to drive for McLaren. So he's been with a lot of teams, and I think David Malukas is actually going to bring a lot to Team Penske, and I think it actually helped Joseph Newgarden and Scott McLaughlin and some of their weak points, because, you know, Meyer Shank is better at Penske and maybe some areas, and AJ Foyt and maybe Dale Coyne, maybe McLaren. You know, I think he could surprisingly help some of the people at Penske improve and get better. And you know, David Malukas is working hard and he's a good driver. So I fully expect that Team Penske team to take a step back to where they normally are this year. I'm not saying they're going to dominate by any stretch of the means, but I'm saying Penske should be back to where they normally are, if maybe a little below that, but they should pretty much be back this year firing on all cylinders, I would expect. Another driver we need to talk about is Nolan Siegel. McLaren, obviously, there at the front. Nolan Siegel with a top team, but does not perform like a top driver, unfortunately. Nolan Siegel really struggles and is normally towards the end of the championship standings every year, and is normally towards the end of the race results every race. You know, he drives for McLaren, but his results aren't worthy of that McLaren seat, you know. Tony Kanaan took a chance on him, bringing him into the team, and gave him that contract and that stability. But he has not delivered on that contract and that stability. He's honestly really under-delivered, and it's really unfortunate because Nolan Siegel was hyped up to be this great thing, but obviously had his struggles in the Indianapolis 500 with Dale Coyne, got bumped, and I think it really hurt his confidence. But, you know, when you get that McLaren seat, I think your confidence should be pretty much back to where it was, and I just don't think it has been. And Tony Kanaan's gone on a limb this year and said Nolan Siegel needs to be in the top 10 of the points or he's gone. But for me, if he gets like 12th or 13th and really improves, are they going to let him go, or is it like 10th or nothing? Like, if you get 10th, the seat's yours. If you get 11th, you're gone. Like, are they going to be that harsh about it? Like, truly, what are they judging Nolan Siegel off this year? Is it he just needs to improve, like improve dramatically, and he gets the seat? Or is it going to be like if it's not top 10, he's done? Like, what if he has a Kiffin Simpson type year last year? Kiffin Simpson, his rookie year, honestly was nowhere, and last year was a really solid driver and got like 13th in the championship. If Nolan Siegel has a year like that, does he keep his seat or does he lose his seat? That will be what's interesting. I think we'll pretty much know where Nolan Siegel stands after the Indy 500. We'll just have to see. I can't wait to see what Nolan Siegel can do. And staying at the front of the field, we now have to talk about Andretti. So obviously Andretti is going to bring in Will Power. Will Power is super confident that he can bring stuff to Penske. He knows his oval expertise, which a lot of people are like, Will Power oval expertise. Yes, he drove for Penske and he knows how to set up an oval car, but himself isn't really that great on the ovals. I mean, short ovals, yeah, he's much better than the super speedways, which now there's only one super speedway. So I do think he can help them in terms of car setup. Andretti's already good on the street circuits, and they're pretty good on the road courses. So Will Power, I think, is going to bring a lot to him. I think Will Power will win a few races this year with Andretti. I think he'll probably win like 2, and I can't wait to see what he can accomplish and where he can stand at the end of the season. Andretti is also a team that does really good on new tracks. We're adding 2 new tracks in Arlington and Markham, so it's going to be really cool to see what they can do on those tracks. They're both street circuits. Andretti's great on street circuits. That could be 2 dominant weekends there. Some of their worst tracks are Iowa. We had 2 races at Iowa. Now there's no Iowa this year, so that just only helps Andretti. And then what about the other 2 drivers you got to talk about? Marcus Ericsson. Marcus Ericsson made the big move from Ganassi to Andretti. He's a 2022 Indianapolis 500 winner, and he's unfortunately at the moment not driving like he's an Indy 500 winner. And it really is disappointing to see how much he struggles, because I personally don't think he deserves to struggle this much. I would like to see Marcus at the front, but right now it's just sad to see Marcus Ericsson really struggle. And with Dennis Hauger going to Dale Coyne with the Andretti partnership, you would have to say that the writing is already on the wall with Marcus Ericsson, and I expect this year to be his last year at Andretti, unless maybe he wins the 500 or a championship, which I honestly don't see. Although Marcus Ericsson is very good at the Indy 500, I just don't see that happening for Marcus Ericsson. And then their third driver, Kyle Kirkwood. Kyle Kirkwood was, at points last year, the only guy that could take the fight to Alex Palou. He was honestly pretty incredible at times. I believe he won 3 races last year, right? He won Detroit, he won Gateway, and he won Long Beach. I believe that's all he won. Maybe I'm forgetting one, but I believe those are the 3 races he won. So he can do it on the ovals, he can do it on the street circuits. We need to see more on a road course bring it, but I think with Will Power helping him now, I think that's going to be huge for him. I think it's going to be huge for the team. Andretti, this just came in my head, is the only team with 2 guys Indy 500 champions. They have Ericsson and Power. They're the only team that's got 2 Indy 500 champions on their roster, which is pretty cool, and I'm kind of interested to see how this dynamic works and where Andretti is as a team. I think Andretti is the biggest boomer bust team. I think they're more of a boomer bust than Penske, personally, because of just how good I think they could be now with a full year of the TWG backing, owning the team. I could see them being the team that takes it to Ganassi and Palou, or I could see them really being the 4th best team. It's going to be really interesting with where Andretti stands. And another team we need to talk about is Prema. So where do I think Prema is going to be at in 2026? Are they going to be on the grid? Are they going to be full-time with 2 cars? We personally really don't know. We do know that they need some investment. I think with where they stand right now, they could take both cars to the Indianapolis 500. Then after that, I think they'd be done. But they've said they want to run 2 cars because it's easier to run 2 cars than 1 car. I don't know how true that is, but that's just what they've said. But all we know about Prema is they need some investment. Will they get it? I don't know. Both their drivers, Robert Schwartzman and Kyle Milot, are contracted to that team for this year. Kyle Milot's doing the full season of IMSA and IndyCar. Robert Schwartzman has nothing. So I guess if you were to see one of them lose their seat, I guess just like how it's like just going right now, I guess you'd want to see Robert keeps his seat. Maybe a paid driver comes in, but I don't want to see either one of them lose their seat because of, how great they are to the series and how good Kyle Milot was doing last year at the end of the season. But it's just because he's got that IMSA deal. So I mean, if you had to pick one, I guess Kyle's already driving something, but I don't want to see either one of them lose their seat. I want them to both stay. I think they're both great, and I think they deserve to stay. It's just gonna be interesting to see what happens with Prema because as of right now, we don't really know, and that's just where Prema's at right now. We don't really know. And now let's talk about a guy who had a breakout year last year for Ed Carpenter Racing, Christian Rasmussen. I think Christian Rasmussen could be the biggest boom or bust driver for sure in 2026. I said Andretti's the biggest boom or bust team. Christian Rasmussen is the biggest boom or bust driver, no doubt about it. He had that breakout win in Milwaukee last year, which was just spectacular. Edge on your seat, TV, that's what that was. When he came in, was like running 10th all day, pit for new tires with like 30 to go, passes like 12 cars, gets to the lead, and drives it home in first place. He's phenomenal on the ovals. I want to see Christian Rasmussen take a step on the road and street circuits so he can prove that he belongs in a big team. You look at the field. Penske, you don't really think there's probably not going to be a seat open there unless Joseph Newgarden maybe decides to walk or Scott McLaughlin gets dropped. You look at Ganassi, I mean, Dixon's, I haven't heard anything about Dixon leaving, so I'd assume Dixon's going to be there in 27. Pillot's not going anywhere. Kiffin Simpson keeps improving, and if the money's good with Kiffin, he'll stay there. McLaren could drop Siegel. I'm sure Ericsson's going to leave Andretti, but they probably already got Hauger set for that seat. So you look at it, there's probably only one seat that could, in the top 4 teams, that's up for 2027. And if Christian Rasmussen can improve on the road and street circuits, you think it might just go to Rasmussen, or I could see Rinus VeeKay. Honestly, that McLaren seat might be between Rinus and Rasmussen for 2027. So I think if Rasmussen can improve on the road and street circuits, that McLaren seat, if Nolan Siegel doesn't improve, it might just be his. Just saying. And obviously, now we got to talk about the silly season. That's kind of still going on in 2025, but we got to talk about it because it does impact 2026. So there's still a full-time seat, which is crazy to say out loud, but that full-time seat is the Dale Coyne Racing seat. It's Romain Grosjean. I'm just going to tell you that right now. It got leaked. It's Grosjean. It was on their website. I don't know why they just want to go ahead and announce it. I don't know if he's not going to announce it till like 2 days before, but I almost guarantee you Grosjean is in that shop. Not right now because he's at the Rolex 24, but I bet you he's in that shop pretty much every day that he's not doing stuff for the Rolex, working on getting ready for 2026. And I bet he's known that he's been their driver for about a month now. Sorry, I stuttered there. That was really weird. I bet he's known for about a month that he's going to be driving that 19 at Dale Coyne. It's pretty obvious. So I don't even know if I'll make a video about that when it gets announced because it is Grosjean. So I'll be interested to see how Romain Grosjean performs at Coyne. Obviously, we need to talk about Connor Daly. Connor Daly, we know, has got a budget of 6 races. And I think that his sponsor really wants to see him do the 6 races that they're going to pay for. Or do you just take those 6 races and you just put it all in the Indy 500? That could be really cool to see, but, I mean, do you really give Dry Reinbold that much money? I know he's not confirmed with Dry Reinbold yet, but I think it's pretty obvious that's where he'll be racing at. But if you're Dry Reinbold, I think you take that money, and I think you do 6 races. Because IndyCar, yeah, they say there's a 27 race starter rule, but that only applies to, like, certain tracks. Like, obviously, like, some tracks you can fit more than 28 cars. So if you show up to Phoenix, where there's, like, probably 30-something pit boxes, and there's 28 cars, you're really going to send one home? I don't think so. So I think he could do Phoenix. I think he could do Indy. He could probably do both races at Milwaukee. He could probably do Gateway. And what's another short oval? Nashville. Honestly, I think if you're Dry Reinbold, I think you try and do that. I really do, because all those tracks can fit more than 27 cars in the pit. And I think if you're IndyCar, I think if Connor Daly shows up with a sponsor, with a team that's trying to get full-time, trying to get more into the series, I think you would say, this is okay. You can do these 6 races, but you can't come to, like, Detroit, where we're trying just to get 27 in, because the 28th would just be too much, and you couldn't even show up to the weekend. So I think if you're Daly, that's probably your season, or you just dump it all into the Indy 500. But I think it's probably more of a Phoenix, Indy, Milwaukee doubleheader, Nashville Gateway ordeal. That's just kind of what I think for Connor Daly this year. And then let's talk about Jacob Abel. So with the Dale Coyne seat that he was in last year looking like it's not going to go to him, it's probably the Indy 500 or bust. He's doing some sports car racing this year, but Jacob Abel has been very clear. If he's doing the Indy 500, it's with his family team, Abel Motorsports. They have a chassis. They don't really need a sponsor because they are their own Indy Next team. So they just need an engine, and it would probably be a Chevy engine because there's one extra Chevy that didn't get used last year, and there's one Honda that didn't get used last year. But Honda's Catherine Leggs, if she can find a chassis. She's got the L sponsorship. She's got the engine. She's probably got the team. She just needs the chassis, which is crazy to think that they don't have a chassis. But with how much chassis Prema has, I'm sure they could buy one off Prema. I fully expect Catherine Legg to be in the Indy 500 with a Honda engine this year. And then I think Jacob Abel will get that Chevy engine. Like, honestly, I really do think Jacob Abel will get that Chevy engine. And that's really all Jacob Abel can do this year in terms of IndyCar is the Indy 500. And if you got a Chevy engine, I think he'll make it. He'll probably qualify like 25th through like 30th, but I think he'll make it. I don't know if he'll be too competitive in the race, but hey, after getting bumped last year, I'm sure that had to be really tough for him. So just making it this year, I think, would be a huge success. And then last but not least, let's talk about Colton Herta. Colton Herta obviously was a full-time IndyCar driver last year in the number 26 Andretti car, but he's moved to F2 to pursue his dream of Formula One. He's also racing IMSA. And Colton Herta wants to run the Indy 500. With Marco Andretti retiring, it opens up the Andretti seat. Colton Herta has said that he wants to do it and will do it. People have to say yes. Can a Chevy Cadillac driver race a Honda engine for a month? We'll have to see. People are going to have to play nice for Colton Herta to get it. I hope for their sakes they do play nice and let Colton Herta run the Indy 500. So with that being said, guys, I hope you enjoyed my preview of the 2026 IndyCar season, and see ya.